Okay. $33,985. Oh, do I have Gravekeeper? $26,458. Well, I actually have to do it from here because I think I have close damage. $31,710. Okay. Okay. So that appears to be working. That would be Damned plus Amplify plus the other one. $84,526. Going to bed. Good night. Thanks for chatting. Hey, no problem, man. Thanks for hanging out. Let's do some math real quick. Damned. 1.5. Oh, them being slowed. I only have 117 essence, Mac. Can you get more than that? 117 essence? I mean, yeah, I have like 187 right now. You can get 400 and like 60 something essence, I think, in total. Thank you for redeeming the darkness. The darkness has been redeemed. Hopefully the darkness will stay redeemed. I have a question if you have a free answer. Sure, what's up, Micah? Now you finally made a build you're very interested in? Rest in peace to all my previous builds. The answer does look like, oh, and then it's Scourge. Okay. Henry, while I was away, I can't imagine a world where it works, but would the minions spawned by Army of the Dead apply Shade Mist? It shouldn't, because they're not actually minions. Let's see. Nope. They continue to not be minions. They're just skeleton-shaped projectiles, just like Howl from Below isn't minions. You should incorporate paid answers. My major issue is that I honestly would not have a problem with doing like consultation-based like build guide help. My issue is that I won't tell people that a thing is good just because they want to hear that, and then I would feel bad about charging people money for that. What are the problems with blood builds in Season 4 and what would you hope to see changed? Overpower needs to proc more often and or be significantly stronger for how often it procs. Okay, so Damned appears to apply while you are in the thick of things. While you're in Blood Mist. Okay, perfect. That's what we want. $240. $422. Oh, hold on. So I saw 240 again. 350. About 240 to 350. About a 50% weapon range there. And there shouldn't be skill variance because it's not actually a skill, it's a static proc effect. Just higher damage. I really like the idea for Lance to first try to launch a bunch of nerds, then overpower. Kind of lose the identity of overpower if it's just all your attacks overpower. Yeah, that's why they could like quadruple the bonuses that we get for overpower damage. Is there any hope for Bone Spirit plus Blood Cuirass plus chance for Hemorrhage to spawn Blood Orbs? I do not, no. You can do Blood Artisan's Cuirass right now in Season 4 because they changed its scaling without saying that they were going to. So it's kind of hard to say like why the scaling is different. But the dream of sitting there and spamming like Hemorrhage, I think. Well, hold on, let me back up. Can you do this thing? Of course you can do this thing. Does it function? It does function. Did they change the scaling and I think it's a bug? Kinda. And I think it's like not working in the PTR, but I haven't tried it out myself. These are gamer advantage glasses. So it's a nerf to the blighted aspect. Shadow Blight is the key passive. I think there's a universe where you run like Golem Mage damage with Kalans, yeah. I don't think it's really worth it for the 1.5 when they also added Great Feast. How is damage for Bone Mage's Bone Spear calculated? It is the Necromancer casting their own Bone Spear through the mages. It is not your mages at all. It does not scale with them in any way. Increasing their damage does not increase its damage. It is just the Necromancer casting Bone Spear through them. I forget what I wanted to test. I wanted to take this off. Okay, this is working. Okay. Something is happening there. Also, I wasn't capped on res. Oh, that's funny. Oh no, I've taken out a bunch of points and stuff. Crit chance is 57%. Is 60 is 69. Nice. No, it includes it. My God, I can't get it to re-recognize that I'm healthy. Bone splinters from golem increase with golem damage or bone splinter damage? What bone splinters from golem? What does bone splinters from golem mean? Oh, do you mean bone spike? That is bone spikes. That is not bone splinters. Bone spikes is a special effect. It's an attack that when you jump off your horse, you do bone spikes, and your golem does too. I need 100% crit chance, which I'm at 80, 93. How can I get more crit chance? At 98. Excuse me. Okay, I'm at 100% crit chance. Every bit of damage should crit. Can I turn off minion damage? I can't. Right. Something is happening. I know I'm staring at this thing and y'all are just listening to this drum beat and I'm not talking. There is an inconsistency with the rate at which the Shadow Blight damage is being applied, and I can't figure it out. Okay. There's a better way to test this. I should be at 100% crit chance. 68 is 90 is 104. How come this isn't critting every time? How come I'm not critting 100% of the time? No, not the minion. My Shadow Blight damage isn't critting 100% of the time. I have 36 crit chance. Here, that's 90, it's 104 crit chance. King Kong, thank you so much for the 500 biddies, boo boo. I appreciate that, man. How am I not at 100% crit chance? I'm at 68%. Plus 36. How? Hello? Interesting. Mervin, thank you for the follow. I'm at 62. That's what I should be at. I'm at 68. This should bring me up to 100. This is like a 50% crit chance. Like, this isn't even vaguely close. I have 100% crit chance. That little damage coming out, that's fucking, that's Iron Maiden. Ignore that. Wait for that to end. I absolutely have 100% crit chance. I could hold this all day. I have 100% crit chance. I've not done non-critical damage this entire time. Right? We can all see this? Okay. How did... How? Why? Why? I have like 50% crit chance on this. What is happening? How do I have variable crit chance? This wasn't granting me crit chance. I don't have the thing. Okay. Okay. I'm not critting often. Do I have crit chance from Bone Board? No. No, I'm also like not critting half the time. It wouldn't be the difference of 4% crit chance, but no, I do not have that. Like I could use any one of these skills and it should be 100% crit chance. The crit that the amulet is granting me is, do I have 100 base essence? If yes, gain 36% chance to crit. Because right now I have 68% chance to crit. The only thing that could be giving me the crit that gets up to 100% is this item. I take off this item. I should be critting about 60% of the time. Lo and behold, I'm critting more often than I'm not, but I am successfully not critting. I put this back on. %100% crit chance, right? We can all see this. Not a crit. Not a crit. What is happening? How is this happening? How is this happening? How is it happening? My corpse explosion. We'll do my corpse explosion. Not a crit. 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 Something is fucked with Shadow Blight. How? How? What? How? Because my minion isn't critting 100% either. Yeah, it has to be. Hi, Mater Doodle. Welcome home. Hello. We are live. Yeah, there's so much to test. Everything is so fucking weird. It's all so weird. But I sat down and I tested this part of it already. Oh, it's fireworks. Whoa, let me see. Ooh. Your phone is doing some wild stuff here. These are awesome. $63. $68. I tested this already though. Like I specifically tested whether or not the amulet was granting me bonus damage. Okay, so that's a 50% range. So the amulet grants me damage. It absolutely grants me damage. The difference of a 1.8 multi. Yeah. Yeah. This is equal to 68 plus 46 divided by 2 multiplied by 1.81. $92. Yes, so it's absolutely granting me damage. So now when we crit, we'll be back down. Yeah, 47 to 68. Right? Then we put this back on. 71. $79. Yes. Okay. All right. It has nothing to do with the minions. It's Shadowblight is not gaining. Shadowblight is not reading my crit chance. Yo, Woody. Thank you very much for the raid. Welcome in everybody from Woody's stream. It's your boy Mac. Unironically, I've had my stream staring at this dummy for about an hour straight, trying to figure out just an insane bug. Just an insane bug. I have 100% chance to crit. This is Shadow Blight damage. This is my key passive. Being triggered. This is Shadow Blight. Okay? Every single time a number shoots out over here, that is Shadow Blight. And you'll see that it's not critting 100% of the time. Woody said I was doing Bone Spear. I was doing Bone Spear a while ago, yeah. It's a pretty cool build. And then you put on the Helm of Lucian and you more than double your damage and you laugh. Because Torment in Starless Skies completely offsets it even when you use Great Feast. You could have -7 essence per second and still offset it with Starless Skies and Torment. Okay, so see this? This is not critting. Now that's interesting. Because I have 100% chance to crit. I will prove it. Here is Bone Splinters. I do not have any cool crit modifiers for Bone Splinters. And if I sit here and attack forever, I have 100% chance to crit. I have 100% chance to crit. We can all see this. This is true. It's a reality. It is real. Now, how are we getting to 100% chance to crit? Well, I have 68% chance to crit, but Lokrin's Talisman, because I have at least 100 base essence, is granting me 36% crit chance. So I'm actually at 104% chance to crit. Here's the problem. I'm going to cast Corpse Explosion a whole bunch, and I'm going to trigger Shadow Blight. Look at all these great crits. See that one? That didn't crit, that didn't crit, that didn't crit, that didn't crit, that didn't crit. All those didn't crit. Now, here's the problem. Here's the problem with that. You think, oh, it's because the amulet has to read my essence, so it must be only on cast effects. Right? Okay, cool. So because it's Shadow Blight wouldn't trigger reading my essence, that means that Shadow Blight shouldn't benefit from the crit chance or the crit damage, because it has two components: crit chance up to 100, then everything over 100, which right now is 174, is read as crit damage. Okay, cool. Let's test that. I now have 181 essence. I did a 74,000 to 66. 74 was one of the top ends. That's a 58, 56, 77, 68, 57, 70. Do the big ones. 82. 83, 84, 84, right? So 84 to 56 is equal to 84 divided by 56. That's a 50% damage range. Those two numbers, 84 to 56, 100% damage range. Okay. Or 50% range of my weapon. It's a flat damage modifier, so it doesn't have like the skill 20% range. We take off the amulet. You'll notice my damage numbers go lower. Down to 47, down to 62. 47 to 62. 62. 44. 44 to 62. What is 44 to 62? 62 divided by 44 is a 40% range. So that's not the true range. 63. $63 gets us close. That's a 43% range. But you get the idea. I put the amulet back on, damage go back up. 71,000, 74,000, 88,000. So it's reading the amulet for the critical strike damage multiplier. And then if you're wondering about the additive damage, I have a metric ton of other additive damage. This is not even representative of a 33% increase in just my crit damage. So I have like 250, 300, nearly 400. Uh, 500, nearly 600. So it's not the additive crit damage. What the fuck? I just do Helltide and Whispers and they drop for me. So here's the thing, everybody. My minion isn't triggering this effect. This damage over here isn't being triggered by my minion. This damage over here is being triggered by this aspect. The aspect is doing the damage. And the Shadow Blight proc is from me. The Shadow Blight proc reads me. It reads me, it reads my damage. It reads my stats. Because here's the thing, it has nothing to do with the minion. Because again, when I do Corpse Explosion, I am not critting 100% of the time. I am not critting at a significant rate. I'm pointing at my screen like you can see it. But that white dimp, that's me. That's all me, baby. The Shadow Blight key passive doesn't Locrins doesn't apply specifically to the Shadow Blight key passive? What? Here, let me make a bunch of corpses real quick. Make corpses. All right, we have to wait 30 seconds. I just don't, it has to be something to do with Shadow Blight. Because all of my other skills are correctly reading 100% chance to crit. Okay. Now, what this doesn't describe currently is the second thing I was experiencing, which was that my procs seemed to slow down. There seemed to be this weird thing where if I had all my minions out, the number of procs seemed to like slow down. Try Bone Splinter on Bone Spirit Aspect and see if that perma crits. What? To what end? Bone Storm is individual damage instances that can crit that is applied over time. Something weird is happening with Bone Prison though. There's like this rollout of 6 damage instances all together very quickly. Something else is very weirdly happening here. Like, this should double my instances. Bruno, we basically tested all of that earlier. Everything works except for adaptability. Because adaptability requires you to cast this skill. Okay. When I have no warriors out, just casting Bone Prison very quickly triggers it. Right? Very quickly triggers it by itself. Having all my minions out also very quickly triggers it a bunch. Doing both should double how often it's happening. Yes, I'm live on YouTube as well. Something weird is happening. Can anybody come to the PvP zone with me and see how fast you die? Sure? Hell yes. There you go, man. Add me. We gotta see. I want to play a game. I used to have a saw. I guess I don't anymore. I want to play a game. Nope, that's not saw. I could workshop it. Invite to my party. All right, venga aquí, por favor. What cool finds did you miss in the last couple hours? A lot. I'll just kind of like a lot. I want to play a game. You never. I want to hear him now. Okay, I couldn't get there. Alrighty, so here's what's gonna happen. Here's what's gonna happen. You're gonna stay right there. Okay. Okay, that was fairly quick. Oh, let me like reduce damage and stuff. Hold on. Let me do this. Let me like reduce my damage significantly. How do without ruining this? I know. Hold on. Okay. And come back on over here. I want to do less damage to you. I guess I don't need this either. Okay. It's not even happening. Weird. Can you heal to full? And I'm going to time this. Okay. All right. And we'll see how long it takes to get down to the 100. Okay. 21.67. Can you heal back up to full, please? Ow. 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 Okay. Okay, can you heal back up to full, please? The way you say por favor is so cute. I can't roll my R's, sadly. Thank you. That was 25. Okay, can you heal back up to full one more time? What are we investigating? A very, very weird buff. Just a weird ass buff. Can you heal back up to full, please? No! No, go away! No, go away. Leave me alone. I'm testing shit. Leave me alone. Go away. Alright. This is science. This is where science happens. Can you full heal? How good is Bone Thorns with minions with that one Thorns aspect? I have no idea. I've never really played Thorns. That's one of those things I really am just super uninterested in trying. I will eventually. It just requires very specific gear, so you can't you really just like can't half-ass it. All right, so it's like 21 to 24-ish seconds. And then can you full heal again? Shadow Blight doesn't read the crit chance from... Doesn't read the crit chance from Lochrans. No, you idiot. Stop being near us. Fuck off. There. All right, thank you. That's not, it's not conclusive. But like Bone Prison doesn't seem to speed up your damage application if you have minions out already. What did Scribblet come up with? I'm positive that Bone Prison with minions out already isn't increasing my Shadow Blight procs. What did you come across in your testing? So, Sir K, I have something fun to show you. I have something fun to show you. I have something fun to show you. Okay. Sato, man, dude, if I just stream until tomorrow, everybody will raid me. There's like no difference between Bone Prison application alone, minions alone, and both together, right? There's something fucky. Sato, thank you so much for the raid. Welcome in everybody from Sato's stream. My name is MacroBioBoy. I'm the Necromancer class lead. Also welcome everybody from Woody stream. Also welcome everybody from Rob's stream. I've been in a downward spiral of absolute lunacy. Cause this game hates me, man. So we're at 62% crit chance. We all agree. We all agree that's what this number says. Okay. I'm at over 100% base essence. That means that Lochrans is granting me 36% critical strike chance. Now, if I drink this potion, I'm now at 68% crit chance. That means plus 36, I'm at 104 crit chance. We all agree? We can all do the math. We all agree. I'm going to show you all that I'm at 100% crit chance. We all agree this is happening. Now, I'm going to summon one Reaper. The Reaper is going to apply Shadow Blight at incredibly high rates. This damage shooting out the side is Shadow Blight. That didn't crit. How? It has nothing to do with my minion. People have been asking that a lot. It has nothing to do with the minion. The minion isn't doing damage. What's doing damage is my aspect, which is applying shadow damage over time. And then I'm proccing Shadow Blight. I'm proccing Shadow Blight. Here's me critting sometimes. Here's me not critting other times. The fuck? People are asking about what about the instead? Nope, I already proved. I've proven, no question. You get crit chance up to your base essence of 100. Then anything above that, you instead get critical strike damage, but you get both. I think there's a bug with masterworking Lochrans Talisman. It makes my crit damage go down. Next time you asked me if I would like to see, you didn't ask to post a clip. Please don't do that again in the future. Generally not the best. Oh, we're talking about your character sheet? I think that's because it puts your amulet over there and it's not considered to be equipped. I think if you unequip it and re-equip it, you should gain back your crit damage. Is what I imagine is happening. Try that out. Doesn't work? Interesting. Remember that your character sheet is not telling you the truth in the first place. Like, I don't have 846% crit damage. I have 367% crit damage. This number is artificially inflated from the different crit multipliers that I have. Where's this practice dummy? It is in Kyovashad. Although, Sillywick, that is interesting. I don't necessarily have an answer for it. But I think if you log out and you log back in, or you unequip it, or you reload your character, you'll get more crit damage after doing it. Like, mine is properly reading how much crit damage I have. I appreciate that, man. Thank you. Okay. Oh, yeah. Oh, this amulet is going to ruin the meta. It's the worst. On paper, I understand a lot of these unique items. They're all just very powerful. They are just not in any way, shape, or form interesting. Do I need a gem on my shield? No. No, I don't. I'm testing stuff right now. All right, it's time to record a video. Alrighty, y'all, while I'm just chit-chatting here, I'm going to be running some footage of what should be the most consistent that an Infinimist or an Infiniminions build has ever been at successfully applying high-scaled and high-damage output from Shadow Blight procs. They have drastically increased the rate at which you proc Shadow Blight. They have doubled its damage. They have made the aspect decay great again. And with the addition of a very specific and kind of innocuous aspect that adds on shadow damage over time auras to each one of your minions, this should have been the great revival of Infinimist. Well, again, Infiniminions. Yes, they made it so that cooldown reduction doesn't start on Blood Mist until it's after the skill has been used, but with minions always carrying the torch for cooldown reduction, as well as stacking a ton of corpse explosions, a ton of lucky hit chances, inevitably putting X-Falls onto this build, which has its own weird little bugged interaction. This build should be cooking. It should be absolutely annihilating everything that you see. And here's the weird part. Sometimes it does. There will be packs of monsters where your minions will go running up, all their little shadow damage auras will apply to them, you'll get massive crits in the multi-millions, and they'll just get evaporated. Other times, though, the build looks like it can't even figure out how it's meant to do damage, and here's the worst part about all of it. Shadow Blight is a consistent damage source. Each minion is able to apply, it looks like, 3 overlapping damage over time effects to the target very quickly. And I'll go ahead and show this later on in like more excruciating detail. But with our grand total of 6 warriors, 5 mages, in each segment of Bone Prison counting as its own minion, we should have sometimes up to overlapping 17 times 3. That's 51 instances of Shadow Blight damage going out, making it proc multiple times per second, each one at million to 2 to 3 million damage, depending on how many buffs you have up. And it turns out multiple millions of damage procced per second should be good enough for tier 100. But something insidious is at the core of this build and stopping it from doing what it should do on paper. And at first, I thought I was crazy. Remember when I thought I was crazy about Bone Storm and Shielding Storm, and then they put out that patch, and then all of a sudden we were able to see the fact that Shielding Storm wasn't actually doing max life, but it was still doing base life? I wasn't crazy then. And here I've been sitting here for hours. I made my stream watch me sit here and watch damage procs for hours, and I've sussed out at least 2 of the bugs negatively impacting this build. The problem being, I can't possibly figure out why they happen or how it happens. But that's enough ranting to some pretty uninspired gameplay here. Oh, and by the way, I did manage to kill the boss at the end of this thing. It took a little while, but it wasn't that bad. But let's go ahead and break down what you should be seeing, what is actually happening, and the bugs that I think are holding this build back from being probably like a pretty decent C tier build if we're all going to be honest with ourselves. Let's go ahead and break it down. Hi everybody, Power of Editing here. We're back in the Kyovashad training dummy room because this is the only place I can consistently show you the things that I'm ranting about. But what was I talking about earlier? It is very specifically the Shade Mist aspect. This says that your minions will all deal shadow damage per second to enemies around them. The damage will then last for an amount of time after the target leaves the area. Obviously, our target dummy here cannot leave this area. Now, with our grand total of 68% crit chance here on my character, and then the 36% crit chance being offered to me by Lockrens, I can show you just how quickly we're able to stack our Shadow Blight procs. Now, I've removed the vast majority of damage and variables and different things from my build to be able to test stuff, because again, I've been sitting here for hours now. So don't laugh at the damage. It's a grower, it's not a shower. But I'm going to summon a single Skeleton Warrior. Just to show you how quickly this is going to stack up Shadow Blight. First off, let me just do like a corpse explosion here. I'm going to do one corpse explosion. And that right there is Shadow Blight. All right, that 52,000 damage, it took almost the entire length of the corpse explosion, but we only need to do damage 8 times for this effect to proc on the target. Okay, great. That's how long it took with a single corpse explosion. Let me put a single minion here and you can see the difference. Boom, 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 boom. A single minion is putting out 4 times the Shadow Blight procs of a single corpse explosion. Why? Again, it seems like they're able to apply 3 overlapping stacks of their shadow damage over time, basically like a bleed effect on the target here, although it's not a bleed, I shouldn't even have said that, but it's applying a debuff that's doing damage over time, and it seems to stack up to 3. If I were to unsummon this minion and you were to watch the damage, it would go down in 3 tiers of damage and then it would fall off. That's why it's applying so much faster than a corpse explosion. And you'll notice that we are consistently proccing Shadow Blight here at a really good rate. In fact, this is faster than we have ever procced Shadow Blight in the past from a single minion. Now I can go ahead and summon a metric ton of minions. And you'll notice that the procs from Shadow Blight start rolling out at hilariously high speeds, since each one of them is each applying their own 3 overlapping shadow damage over time effects that are all being read as their own damage instances. This is why Ebon Piercer with the bolts on a Blight build does so much damage. Each one of them applies separately. They can all wither crit, they all get all of the same bonuses, etc. But this is the conceit of the build. Just these 6 minions alone are proccing Shadow Blight multiple times per second, and that's going to continue as long as they're standing next to a target. Now the interesting thing here is that Bone Prison, which counts as 6 total minions, also very drastically applies the Shadow Blight procs here as fast as you can possibly count, right? Look at this thing. It's basically doing the same work as those 6 minions were before, because it counts as its own 6 minions. Well, what happens if you put 6 minions there and the Bone Prison there? You know what? Let's go hog wild. Let's get all 5 of my mages here as well. Now, and all these like small yellow numbers over here, those are our minions damage. You can completely ignore that. But over here, we are getting an exceptionally fast application rate. You'll see it kind of like comes out in waves. It's almost like a few apply a few times, a few apply, and then like 6 or 7 all apply simultaneously. Then tossing on Bone Prison should drastically increase the rate at which we are applying this damage. And here's the first bug, and I can't prove it, but I can't disprove it. It's very weird. Casting Bone Prison with all of my minions on the target isn't increasing the amount of damage instances and the amount of Shadow Blight procs. If you were to sit here with a keen eye looking for long enough, you'd notice that the rate of me applying this damage does not increase and also seemingly decreases when I put my Bone Prison up. Quite literally, you hear less Shadow Blight. You quite literally hear less Shadow Blight procs going off. I can't put my finger on this one. There is something about overlapping this many instances of minions with the aura damage that is reducing the total amount of damage instances. It's somehow slowing down our damage output. Like, look at how much faster it is now that the Bone Prison has gone away. Real Trist, thank you very much for the raid. I appreciate you. Now, just eyeballing that isn't necessarily the greatest thing ever, so I went and employed a random chat member to come hang out in the PvP fields with me, and basically timed how long it would take for me to kill them with the effect of the Shadow Blight procs just from my minions, and it took basically roughly 21 seconds to half of their life. I kept counting down until we reached the 100 in their level, and then adding on Bone Prison at least 1 to 2 times during that interval also took 21 seconds to reach that amount. So somehow, some way, adding on more damage instances from more minions is not only not increasing our damage, but sometimes decreasing our damage. So that's weird. Also, this is going to be another little editing trick here. I wasn't actually showing you the normal damage numbers, and there was a reason why I wasn't doing that, but let me go ahead and turn that on. I'm currently showing all damage numbers that are relevant for my testing, and I'm going to sit here attacking with Bone Splinters for a while. Now, why would I possibly need to sit here and attack with Bone Splinters? Well, I just want to prove to you that I actually do have 100% critical strike chance. And if I didn't have 100% critical strike chance, I would eventually hit a white number here. I would eventually not crit. Bone Splinters is great because it does anywhere between 3 to 5 attacks, so you'd very quickly see a non-crit attack at some point. Again, I have 68 critical strike chance here, 36 critical strike chance here. That's a whopping total of 104% critical strike chance. If I cast regular Corpse Explosion or Bone Splinters or Bone Spear or Bone Spirit, I will crit 100% of the time. Why do you need to know that? Well, it's time for our second bug. Shadow Blight doesn't read Lochran's critical strike chance, but it does read Lochran's critical strike damage multiplier. What? I'll prove it. I'm going to go ahead and summon a single minion, just so it doesn't get too loud here. And we'll notice the Shadow Blight procs over here, a crit. Oh, that wasn't a crit, only 12,000. Oh, only 13,000. Oh, big old 62, little 46, big old 76, and no crit there. You'll notice that I'm critting, if you were to sit here and stare at it for long enough, about 68% of the time. Why? I don't know why, but hold on. Maybe it's the minion, right? The minion is the one applying the shadow damage over time, maybe the minion isn't gaining the 36% chance crit from Lochran. Well, that's not how Shadow Blight works, but I hear ya. Let me go ahead and prove that for you as well. I'm gonna proc my own Shadow Blight from my own Corpse Explosion with my 104% critical strike chance. Let's go. Here we go. Oh, crit, 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 crit. Nope, no crit, no crit, 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 no crit. Shadow Blight just doesn't read Lochran's crit chance. Now, I hear you even further. Mac, it's because you're not casting a skill. It must be checking your essence on skill cast. And even though Shadow Blight is one of your key passives, it's not an active skill. Well, I'm not going to bore you to tears here. I went and did the math and saw just how much damage that we were critting for on range here, with and without Lochrans, and taking off Lochrans loses me the whopping, let me go ahead and put it back on, 74% damage multiplier to critical strike damage that you get for having above 100% essence. So it is reading my essence total. For the purposes of determining the critical strike damage multiplier down below, yes, it's a multiplier, not an additive. Watch my previous video if you haven't already. I also proved that earlier in the PTR. So it's reading half of the amulet for the purposes of determining what my critical strike damage multiplier is, but it's not reading the 36% chance to crit I get from the first part of the amulet, even though every other skill that I use does. But you'll also notice that my minions weren't critically striking 100% of the time, so they also are not reading Lochran's 36% bonus critical strike chance from the beginning of this amulet. I don't know why. This one's got me stumped. So while I could reach 100% chance to crit with Bone Storm, and I could also use Grasping Veins and then gain another critical strike damage or critical strike chance modifier there, or I could just get like strictly better gear. Now keep in mind I have like Greater Affix critical strike here, Masterwork Greater Affix here, additional critical strike chance here, additional critical strike chance here. Getting up to 100% chance is not something that would be impossible to do. It would just require significantly better gear or permanent uptime of both Grasping Veins and or Bone Storm. But we need this because it is the largest total multiplier of our critical strike damage that we can fit onto the build easily. And it's making every other skill that we have read 100% chance to crit, except very specifically for Shadow Blight. So when I was getting inconsistent damage and I wasn't getting the damage increase I was expecting from having all of my minions mobbed onto one target with the Bone Prison, it's because it seemingly has some lower cap of how many total Shadow Blight procs I can trigger against the target simultaneously, as far as I can tell, or at least that I can trigger simultaneously from the curse. Meaning that on top of that, while I was spamming Corpse Explosion, I wasn't actually increasing my rate of triggering these effects because I'd already reached a limit we previously didn't know existed. But then on top of that, the damage was inconsistent because it wasn't reading my 100% crit chance. So that's why the video footage is at least as kind of crummy as it was, and is actually kind of an up note, because theoretically, some of these things are bugs. I'm going to report these obviously to the developers, and maybe that means that they're going to fix this interaction with Shadow Blight, and then we will gain the total benefits of the amulet, and we will get that significantly larger total amount of crit chance that we should be expecting based on how it works with basically every other skill in the game. So don't give up hope. There's a world where this Infiniminions build will make its way onto your doorstep walking into Season 5, because again, the PTR, the entire purpose of it is to be testing these things to find out these bugs. Also, just as a very quick side note, I did try it with the Morticrux. The cool part about the Morticrux is that every one of the skeletal simulacrums also count as a minion, so all of them also trigger the Shade Mist, and I thought like, wow, that's going to drastically increase my damage. 5 more minions, because you can only have 5 in total, and then they don't actually scale with like minion damage, and the effect actually scales off of you, so it's kind of like every other thing that says like you get more minions, when in reality all just scales off of the Necromancer. And while you definitely will make a lot of corpses, basically infinite corpses, it kind of didn't do anything for the build, and this is theoretically the best build you could possibly use it on. So sadly, at least for right now, haven't found anything to do with this dagger right now. But there is a universe where if all of these bugs are fixed, maybe this thing comes back in and then it does a lot more damage. Maybe it's better. Who knows? I don't know what to do, but I'll eventually figure out something to do with this dagger. Just not right now, or at least not right here. But there you go. I wanted to bring you this build guide. It's just like kind of super duper mid and underperforming, and it's due to at least 2 pretty major overlapping bugs. And again, hopefully these will get fixed in the PTR, but I'd love to hear from you down below. Have you been trying anything like this? Actually, like while I was prepping to do this build today, another content creator or another guide writer by the name of Scribblet was like, hey, did you try this kind of stuff? It's weird. It should be doing really good damage. And I was like, oh, that's wild. We actually had that on the docket today. So I know people have been inspired by this aspect and what you could possibly do with it. But I'd love to hear from you and what you've been trying out. Let me know down in the comments. If you're brand new here and you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Also, if you've been here a bunch of times and you just never really noticed whether or not you have, go ahead and check that out. I might just be showing up in your algorithm. You don't want to miss out on any of the rest of the coverage that I have for coming for the PTR. I got Bone Spirit. I got Bone Spear. I'm going to be doing the blood builds. I got 3 more weird bugged interaction videos to share with you all. I have a whole rant about the Helm of Lucian and how it needs to be removed from the game files as fast as possible. You don't want to miss out on that one. Leave a like on the video as well if you want to mind it. I would deeply appreciate it. But as always, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that it helps you out, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Sirach's here too. Welcome in, everybody. What about Crippling Darkness? Does it interact with the amulet? That would be a very hard thing to test over a given period of time. I don't know. Blizzard never said that dots can't lucky hit. That is untrue. Dots absolutely can lucky hit. They just can't critically strike unless they are a physical damage over time application that is not actually a dot, because there's actually 2 different things. Welcome in, everybody, from Sirach Stream. My name is Mac. It's a pleasure to see you all again. Spirit be wildin' right now. Hold on. Sirach coming through. Hold on.
Hey, could you give me a corpse, Mr. Reapers?
Let's see it. What's cool about it too is that the first one overpowers, which activates Dominate, so the second one basically does the same amount of damage. If you see a no crit crippling proc, it doesn't work right. Yeah, absolutely. I would just have to proc a 15% coefficient effect chance consistently enough to get a range of data points, which would be very hard. Turns out that procking a 15% chance to proc something is actually very difficult, especially when like our best option is a 40% chance to proc. So it ends up being a whopping 6% chance to proc it per cast, roughly. The Lucian Helm video will be controversial as fuck. Thing needs to be removed from the game, no question. Okay. So, I'm exhausted. And I think I can't keep doing 10 to 12 hour streams without going to sleep a little bit earlier. Because I also want to get some of these videos out because I now have like 10 recorded just from today. Shade Mist bug breakdown. Write down this bug. bugs. Lochran's crit chance does not apply to minions or Shadow Blight procs. Overlapping above 6 minions with Shade Mist aspect does not seem to increase the proc rate of damage or Shadow Blight instances. Oh, here's a test that, holy shit, I didn't even think of this. This might actually have been super significantly easier to test. Okay. Okay, so here's what we do. Oh, well, not that. $1.35. $1.65. So about 1.6, 1.7. Oh, hello? Maybe kill off these. Time this again. $2.13. About 2 seconds, okay. About 2.13-ish, just over 2 seconds. 2 seconds. A little bit hard to say. So very slight difference there. $1.68, okay. So that did not change how quickly Shadow Blight was triggered. Take into account the very slight late ending and a little bit of human error. It should effectively, so like, it should decrease the time again by half because I'm increasing my number of, so I went from like 2 seconds to 1.68 seconds by adding on 5. I add on another 6. It should be down to like 1 second. It's fucky. It is not working as intended, it turns out. Do I actually have a good helmet? The Lucian? The crown? I do. I have like a near perfect one. 25% damage, high life, perfect resource, perfect lucky hit, only 1 core skill. This thing needs to be removed from the game. This should not have been printed. This is like when they printed real name Nemesis in that one EDH pre-con. Thanks, Axel. Shouts to my MTG fans. Remember when you had to buy that one pre-con and hope that like your local Walmart or Target hadn't upcharged it already? Because they had the audacity to print True Name Nemesis that says has protection from your opponent. What? What? It was a Merfolk? What? It's a 3-drop Merfolk? Ruined Legacy for a while? That's this helmet. All right, y'all. We are going to go raid somebody. And I'm gonna go eat dinner. And now True Name is outclassed by everything? Yeah, it's kind of funny. Do you meet rare node thresholds on the 8th board? What? Bro, who's streaming? Other than Datmod? Hold on. I love me some Datmods, but who else is streaming? Goes Datmods, me, some, I think, a French bear. Oh shit, and Fame. Let's go raid Fame. Fame streams roughly 4,000 hours. I was checking out their stats, and I think they've streamed like 3 times as many hours as I have, and the only thing I've streamed is Diablo 4 since it came out. Like, it's insane. We're gonna go raid Fame. All right, y'all. Okay. Thank you very much for hanging out. I hope that this was insightful. We've been able to try a lot of very cool and funny builds. That's like not really like realistically something you could do before. Like I did a tier 100 on this build. That's actually really cool. But thank you all for being here. I hope that y'all show back up tomorrow. It's the Friday, it's the weekend. We got so much more to test. I have so much stuff to fucking cover. It's insane. But I will see you all there. As always, auf Wiedersehen, au revoir, arrivederci, sayonara, so long, ciao, kapkun krap, sawadi, guten Nacht, hasta mañana. I'll see you all again. I'm gonna go eat dinner. It's 11:30 p.m. my time, so you know that's healthy. Bye-bye. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye, y'all.